welcome to the Essential Pedagogy Podcast. My name is Steph, the Educator, and I just want to introduce you to the podcast real quick. I hope, as a result of you listening to this podcast, that people within our profession and others that outside of our profession grow in compassion for one another by getting an inside view of the complex structure of the American education system. So, without further ado, I just want to let you know that today is a solo situation with a couple of questions that I've gotten from listeners and also production. They're going to chime in with questions that they might have. So, I want to talk to you about our topic today. Um, this is the holidays, and I'm wearing red, and I rarely wear red, but tongue twister. But I just want to participate in school. They had an ugly sweater day, and I don't own ugly sweaters. I don't own ugly sweaters. I just own sweaters. And I started thinking about just lots of things that's been going through my mind. Um, I am a saved individual, and so this time of the year can be very tough. This is the holiday season on a lot of people, and my mind wandered to a saying that I say in the classroom a lot. I teach middle school. I've been teaching middle school for 20 years, and I teach sixth and seventh grade this year. No matter what grade level I teach, I usually say this term, which is called paying attention is free. um, I say it all the time like, hey, I'm not asking you for money. Just paying attention is free. So let's pay attention and let's get this lesson done, right? However, in thinking about it more, I don't know if paying attention is free. I think we pay a cost to the things that we pay attention to. And I just want to talk to you about what I mean by that. Social media, other people's business, us paying attention to things, it takes away from our well being. It takes away from what we need to focus on most sometimes. Uh, I thought about some of the things that I've been hearing about in the media, some of the lives that have been lost, and this is nothing new. Um, People lose their lives, young people lose their lives all the time during this season, and it's very, very hard on the parents, on the people that love them, on the other students that knew them. The young baby girl that, and I call her baby girl. I think she was 7. That was senselessly and brutally um, murdered by FedEx guy. Um, Recently heard about a few young men who were in their first year of college that passed away in a car accident while changing a flat tire here locally. Just a lot of sadness. And so it just makes me just think about life differently and what we pay attention to. Another incident that happened to me that made me think of this is I don't remember. Um, yeah, he ran over. Like he hit her, and she was alive when he hit her. I'm answering someone on Facebook. Yeah, and I think she said this is what I heard that she said she was going to tell her daddy, and he scooped her up and put her in a truck, and then strangled her, which was it's very sad and very senseless. And the last I heard about that was the father is suing the company that contracted him for the job. I don't think he was employed by FedEx directly, but yeah, allegedly, I guess he confessed to the murder, and no past record or anything like that. So um, we really have to pay attention to what we focus on. Um, w- we don't always have or know what's going to come at us. That might rattle us a little bit, but what we focus on long term can lead us into making decisions that will make us or break us. I have a question.
Yes. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, I got a question for you. And by the way, thank you so much for all that you do. This is for, all the teachers, educators, people that are taking the time out to, take care of our kids. Even though they're not your kids, they're your kids because you're taking care of them. And we appreciate you all for this. I had a question, Steph,
Hmm.
because we're talking about, the sadness and all the things that are going on in the world. What is it in place for the kids at school real time? For an example, we do at a company that I work with, we call them brain breaks. I
Hmm.
know that sometimes we are teaching and we're forcing all this knowledge and things to our children, but the truth of the matter is, some of them do have those bad days that they have, or, things that they're bringing on, tragic situations from home with their parents. What does it look like in that environment? What do you all have in place? Or what could possibly be in place for those kids that need that moment right then and there?
Well, we have constant training about helping children's social emotional needs. In fact, we have built in time in the middle of the day that's called advisory. And sometimes those advisory times are used for social emotional lessons to help children understand um, and identify their own emotions and emotions in other people. And then once you identify these emotions in yourself and in other people, then you can build compassion towards whatever situation you might find yourself in. Um, Here, the last week, we talked about bullying and about what the definition of bullying and harassment is, and the different roles people play in bullying, um, the bullier, the bystander, the victim, things like that, and how those roles can change and be dynamic. In one situation, you may be a bystander. In another situation, you may be the victim. In another situation, you may be participating, bullying someone else because you're just so excited of not being in the other on the other side of things. So we definitely have lessons weekly, twice a week sometimes, about things that could happen, um, that children have to deal with on an ongoing basis. And sometimes things can happen, such as the little girl or a schoolmate having, passed away, or something that to that effect, in which we will have crisis counselors come in
Got it.
to help with that kind of situation. It is, ah, but it's becoming more prevalent than we think. Things are definitely close to home, and we definitely are more intelligent around the whole situations. So we do more,
Wow.
because trauma is real. Trauma is real. Whether it is seeing another classmate, hearing about another classmate passing away and knowing that they were sitting in the seat next to you and now they're not, or whether your family's going through a hard time, through a poverty type situation, and you just can't focus in class.
Wow.
There's so much that could be going on. I had a student that He's been focusing on another parent that's having declining health and could be, passing on soon. And
Wow.
so he had some behaviors, language behaviors. He told somebody to F off. And the student is not a bad student. And the F word is definitely not appropriate. But until I approach the situation without judgment right away, um, like judgment on his character, uh, I definitely told him that it was not appropriate. And I had a private conversation with him. And I said, you're not making your family proud. You know,
Wow.
not only is this not an appropriate thing for you to say to, he was like, well, I said it in a joking manner. And I was like, but it could have been taken in a non joking manner, first of all. And second of all, it's just not a good thing. Like, if I was to repeat what you said to your mom, dad, would you be happy or proud about that? And he just said no. And I said, you're not wearing
Wow.
your parents' last name proudly. You are not putting a good mark on their name by doing this kind of thing. And when I said that, he just kind of started to tear up and cry. So instead of writing a referral, I could have, I called his mom and I said, hey, ever since he got back from Thanksgiving, like something's going on. He said this to a student, and he said it in a joking manner, but I think it was for him to get out of trouble. And his mom was like, yeah, he's had some language issues. His dad, is a little bit more lax than I am. And we are divorced. I'm remarried, and his dad is ill, and
Wow.
he may not make it. And so ever since he came back home from his dad's, he's been in a way. So uh he's been having issues with language issues. And I said, oh, okay, well, I did not suggest counseling to her, but I did say when I went through a hard time with my divorce, I have two boys, and I chose to get counseling for my boys. It wasn't as a severe issue as losing the other parent, but you just never know what would trigger someone, how people take, even losing a pet, how it feels to them on the inside may be different than how it feels to someone else on the inside. And so you just got to take that in account. All right. And so the mother was like, well, that's a great idea. So, we can do a lot, but then sometimes our hands are tied. You know, we
Got
can't
it.
do anything about, a parent's, not much anyway, about a parent's situation where they're living um, from hotel to hotel, and their children are old enough to know what that is, right? Um, uh, they're old enough to know that this is not a stable situation. I don't feel comfortable. So therefore, I can't focus in class. So when I say paying attention is free, it really, sometimes it's not. It's,
Yeah. You know what, Steph? I want to ask you this because I want to kind of reverse this thing. And the
Mhm.
reason why is because sometimes we forget about the people that are actually pouring in, and their glass begins to get empty. So, in that same breath, what's available for the educators? When you're in a situation, Steph may need to walk away. Steph may need a brain break. Steph may need a breather. What what information is everyone talking about on the leadership side of things to protect the staff, to protect the mental and well-beings of the people that's working very hard to take care of the children? What's in place for you?
well, EAP, well,
Really?
yeah, well, we have
Real time is what I'm saying.
not real time.
Well, that's the point
We
because
suck
you're
it up,
there
y'all.
working real time.
We suck it up, and we're there for one another. But I recently I just told an associate principal friend of mine that she needed to take some time off. Really, she needed to take time off. Um, she has been in situations where um, she saw a gun on a student, like from the corner of her eye, and when the campus officer came, she was so terrified that somebody was going to get shot. The gun fell from the bag, and she sat there sweating. And when she got up, the whole bench was wet. Um, she was called in a situation where a child walked out of class and um, told the teacher on the way out he was going to kill himself. And the teacher called, followed protocol, called an administrator right away. She was called to the scene. By the time she got to the classroom, the student had long gone from school and was on his way home. Um, it took a little time to gather up the campus officer, to get to the apartment, to talk to the apartment manager, to get into the apartment with, when they're not, the lease holders of the apartment. And once they got in, the child was already bleeding from a self-inflicted wound. So when she got back, her clothes was just full of blood, like she was in a war zone. Both of those incidents happened this year. And I told her, I said, you don't need to go to work Monday. You just don't. You need to sit or talk to somebody. You don't need to go to work. But it's end of the semester and there's semester exams and there's responsibilities. And if we don't do it, who will? And so we go to work. We go to work. So that's, you know, um, well, you know what? I have a question here. So, how does it make you feel not to have proper support and you deserve more? Well, yes, we don't always have proper support. And that's why we have a shortage of teachers right now. But there's also a shortage of nurses. There's also a shortage of a lot of high risk, dangerous jobs, very taxing on people. So it's very demanding jobs. We're not the only ones, and it's very healthy for me to think that way. Because if we focus on this sucks, this is awful, I hate it, I don't want to deal with this anymore. We have to focus on the good. We have to focus on how much we're needed, how much if that administrator wasn't there, that child would be dead for sure, would be dead. The mother did not know. Um, the school had to call the mother. So we have to focus on the good, that we have purpose, that us walking through the door, we are the lights to some children, and other children, we just help facilitate the light that they get from home. Not that we're the only savior for kids, because I don't want to be the savior for people, but that is something that keeps us going. That if we don't do it, who is? Who's going to do it? So who will? Um, and that keeps us going, and also treating ourselves well. Now, the combination of having a hard job or very demanding job and then you neglecting yourself, or you having negative self-talk, now that is a recipe for disaster. And I learned that the hard way. Not that um not that I was in a situation where I was going to harm myself or anything like that, but my health did suffer. Stress is a killer. And so I've learned that, oh, I have to be good to myself. I have to give myself patience. I have to be very patient with myself. I have to, just as much grace I give to my students that I give to other people, I need to give to myself. So when I do make a mistake, and I do, and I tell people all the time, I am a human being. Like, I feel like people forget that. They feel like you're a robot, you're a teacher, get that grade in, do it. You do it and be compassionate, be loving, and be happy all the time. Well, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes, I am human. But when I do make a mistake, yes, I think about it. Yes, I reflect on it. But most importantly, though, is I do not participate in negative self talk. I don't. I made a mistake. I am going to think about how that mistake may not happen again, and what lesson I've learned from it, and I'm gonna keep it pushing because I know in my core that I'm a good person. And the only way I can keep being a good person is if I say good things to myself. I'm not always going to hear it from someone else. So I need to say good things to myself in order to open the door and greet my students and keep going. It may be a bad class period. It may be a bad day, but I'm not going to show that because it's just a day. It will pass. It's just a class period that will pass, and I'm going to treat myself well. If if I need something, I'm going to provide my needs. I'm not going to neglect myself. I'm not going to not go to the doctor. Those are double knots. I'm not going to um not eat well because you know things are expected of me. I'm not going to um neglect drinking water. I need to drink water. I need to be mindful of that. I don't drink as much as I should, but I definitely don't go without like I used to. And I do call the front office and I'm like, if anybody can give me a break to go to the restroom. When you work 5 hours straight and you've been drinking water, you know, from I think, what time am I finished with lunch? It's 11:45 to 12:15. So from 12:15 to 4 o'clock, normally the bell rings at 3:45, but 4 o'clock I can't shoo kids out my class fast enough. But 4 o'clock, I, I'm not going to the bathroom most days. So I have to call and say, hey, can anybody, relieve me? I really got to go. And I don't ask just for, you just have to go a little bit. But when I'm really been drinking water and really been trying to do my due diligence, sometimes I have to go. So I have to be good to myself. Um, so that means I have to pay attention. I have to pay attention to my emotions of what I'm feeling. I have to pay attention to my self talk. I have to pay attention to what I am paying attention to. If I focus on every negative thing that goes on, I would not be able to function as a positive person in the classroom. But if I focus on the good things that's happening in my life, the way I'm trying to live my life now, where I am not resentful of my job, it's easy to be resentful when you don't take good care of yourself. It's easy to be resentful when you talk bad about yourself. It's easy to be resentful when you say, I'm poor. Like, yes, we do not earn the money we deserve, but you're not about to catch me saying I'm poor, because I'm not. I'm rich in a lot of ways, and I have enough. I have enough. I've learned how to stretch a dollar, but I have enough, and I'm thankful for living in that space. Now, compared to some of my own, colleagues, not really colleagues, but my classmates from college and things like that. No, I don't have the extra funds to do some of the things that they do, but I live a good life because I choose to, not because money dictates that. Okay, just want to make that clear. And the things that I pay attention to are on a daily basis is more on the spiritual realm, and I'm learning how to walk in that journey every day. So paying attention isn't free. We pay with our lives, we pay with our spirit and the things that we hold near and dear to us. If we pay attention to all the negativity in the world, then we can't enjoy the great season God has for us. Um, that's within school, that's out of school, that's everywhere and every day, no matter what job we have. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And okay, if you could choose, how many hours a day would you say is enough to teach? How much of your time is truly needed? Oh, ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so um, you know what I thought about here recently is I feel like it would be healthy for us to teach the not a whole year of the curriculum. Like I teach sixth grade and seventh grade curriculum. What I feel like would be beneficial with the short attention span of these children and um, the struggles teachers face um, is I think it would be beneficial for some topics and some subjects if we would rotate. Like I had these group of sixth graders for a semester, and then the second half of science for the sixth grade curriculum is taught by a different teacher, and I get her kids or his kids, mostly her kids. Anyway, and that way everybody is kind of on their toes, attentive, um, and it's just fresh and new. I think it would do that. There are some classes like theater arts and um, some other classes that are just like speech. It's just a semester long, and I feel like it's kind of refreshing to be able to say you're moving on. I'm getting a fresh batch. Not that they're better, but not you. And we're going to, start like it's a so I I think we could go to even a 4-day teaching week too. I really do. I think we could do that, and it would give the students time to rejuvenate. There's so many things crammed in a weekend. I just feel like it can be done, but and it's done in other states. I think Oklahoma does it in some schools. I know that Colorado does in some of their districts. So I think these flexible work weeks and flexible schedules could be very healthy, especially with our attention span, with social media and things like that being a part of our lives. It just created an environment for that. That's a good question. But guys, I have run out of time. I can't believe that I've been only one on here talking besides production. Um, and it has gone so fast, but it's been a pleasure. Can't wait to talk with you next time and get you more acquainted with our education system and grow in compassion. Till the next time, this is Essential Pedagogy, Steph the Educator.